We are here with Andrew Thornton, who with his creative and lovely wife, Ginny, owns Argington, a cool kids furniture company founded in 2003. Thank you for being here, Andrew.
Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate it.
I really love that your furniture is modern, but it's not too modern. You know, it looks like it could fit in any home. Why don't we start with you describing the style of your company's furniture?
You know, it's interesting that I try to point that out to people all the time, that when we started the company back in 2003, we regarded ourselves as a modern furniture company. And I think of modern as usually, fairly severe in terms of the lines. But over time, we've sort of started to incorporate a lot of different influences into our designs. And that can be anything from sculpture to Art Nouveau to Bauhaus to just a range of things that we wanted those lines to soften up. So there's a degree of warmth in what we do, so we don't even think of ourselves as being modern anymore. We think of ourselves as a contemporary furniture company.
Yeah, I agree with you about the warmness of your pieces. I really enjoyed that part of it, not just in the darker wood pieces, but they all just feel very comfortable and very soft and like you would want it
Yeah,
in your home.
very homey, yes. Thank you.
I know the company started shortly after the birth of your first child, I believe, but where
Yes.
does inspiration for each individual furniture piece come from?
Well, let me give you just a little bit of history. So Jenny and I are a husband and wife team. I got my degree in architecture and mathematics, and Jenny was a fine artist, a painter and a sculptor. Like several of our other counterparts, we started the business when we first found out that we were going to have a baby in 2002. So we began designing for our unborn child, and not for the reason that we didn't find that our aesthetic wants weren't out there in the market, but it's just naturally inspiring. When you have kids and you're a designer to begin with, you want to do things for them. Our very first line was called the Wonders Collection, and it was a collection based on the seven wonders of the world, and that gave us a great sort of jumping off point. So we designed things like the Eiffel bookcase and the Zeus high chair, and a number of other things that sort of connected our furniture with these geographic locations with the world and gave a point of connection between parent and child. And it was really fun to work with these sort of educational monuments. But over time, our lines have now become more coherent and comprehensive and follow more of a traditional, model about, how companies develop lines.
Yeah, I actually noticed the furniture names. I saw that there's some named after man-made structures, but also some, after natural landmarks. Do you find
Yeah.
equal inspiration in kind of urban environments and natural environments?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, we do look to nature. A lot of our inspirations, as I mentioned, were things from like sculpture, like Noguchi or Calder, or beautiful architectural structures, like even the Empire State Building. They all have relevance to us. But the natural world also carries its own set of amazing design and beauty. Kind of our tagline is designed by nature, natural by design. So we really pull from just everything around us to try to come up with new concepts and ideas.
So what do you think are the biggest differences between your furniture and the other kids manufacturers work out there? Because there are a lot of companies that make kids furniture. What makes you guys
Sure.
stand apart?
It's a great question. I think one of our key things is that when we started in 2003, we started out very, very humbly. We worked, we handcrafted everything. We started off with a really small shop. And just as time went on, we were very fortunate and got a great response and kept getting more and more orders and kept growing. Well, now we're in this wonderful position where we have a lot of resources and a lot of ability behind our company now. So we feel like we can, in terms of design, bring people more for less, if you will. That was like an Eames mantra some time ago, and we're sort of coming back around to that with the scrutiny of people wanting more for their dollar and value. We think right now what we do excellent is we bring people really great quality, great materials at a price that really our competition has a hard time competing with. And that's not to drown anybody out. It's an ability that we have right now. And that's in terms of the manufacturing. In terms of design, we've been pretty steadfast in offering. We've had a green initiative from day one, and we keep continue to develop that program. All the pieces are convertible, so when people buy our pieces, even for this great price, they get to use it for 5 or 6 years and well beyond that. Lots of adults will commandeer their children's furniture from stuff of ours to use in their rooms after their child is grown and gone. So I think those are our key strengths that separate us from our competition.
No, I totally agree with the commandeering part. I absolutely want the Eiffel bookcase in my life, and I don't have any kids.
Thank you.
Do you guys work from home, or do you have like a separate office where you get creative?
We have a separate office and a studio here in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. But we live and work all within, Brooklyn. So yeah, we're like a regular, couple that we drop the kids off to school, we go to the office. Some days we don't really interact with each other that much because we have our own set of duties and things within the organization. And then some days we have the pleasure of getting to really comb over, develop marketing strategies and work a lot on new designs and business strategies. So it's really helped us out, to be honest with you. That, I think all small business owners at one point in time, you have to work with what you've been, given. But as time evolves, it's great to have the kind of support and the platform beneath us now to really operate independently.
That was actually going to be one of my questions is how is it, being married and owning a business? Who does what?
Well, it's truly one of the most rewarding things that I've ever experienced in my life. It's not for everybody, but when you have two people who are really passionate about what they do and ambitious and driven, we really tend to work very well with each other in that respect. It doesn't mean that we don't have, different design opinions, but that's part of the process, and it's very beautiful. I think as time goes on, I think people, you give each other space enough to sort of clearly identify your roles, and you try to, match people's strengths with what they should be doing. And I think we've been able to self-regulate, or I guess self-delegate that. So, maybe in the first few years of the company, we didn't exactly know who should be doing what and this and that. But as time, went on, I think there were sort of natural things that just came to fruition, and we recognized that and, assigned that to that particular person.
So what are some of the challenges that you face on a daily basis as a small business? Is it the business part? Is it manufacturing issues or design issues?
Manufacturing issues are things that can be definitely, as long as they're dealt with in advance and there's forethought into the process, it's very doable. You can put in redundancies, and we're not operating at this point, where if something goes wrong, it's the end of the world. We have things and checks and balances and quality control set up. I think the hardest thing is the day-to-day management of the business. As a business owner, as it starts to grow, you really tend to focus on larger issues, but there's all sorts of micro issues that are swirling around you that you can't be oblivious to. You need to be aware of those things in terms of management. And then there's continuing to develop stronger relationships with your existing retailers. Constantly getting your name out there and getting people to understand your brand and what you're about, and the kind of things that you do is very. Every day we look for opportunities to do that and how to do that effectively. So we've certainly become more competitive, trying to go from a smaller company to a mid-sized company.
What are the goals for your business in the upcoming months?
The goal for us is always to, we always are very excited about reaching new markets, reaching a broader audience. I think in the beginning, at first, a lot of the sort of modern furniture companies were sort of limited to a certain group. But, for example, one thing that we're very excited with is we're going to be launching the second version of our BAM line, which is it's a bassinet that converts to a crib that converts to a toddler bed. And it's great because there are very, very few products on the market that offer this type of convertibility. Most people would love to use bassinets with a newborn, but they rarely do because it's such an ephemeral object that is obsolete within 3 months, and then they have to go to a crib. So it's going to be on casters, and we're going to sell the whole set for about $450. So what that does is it gives us the ability to reach into far more homes and to sort of capture a larger audience for our products. So that's tremendously exciting for us. So it's really breaking beyond those boundaries of creating exclusive products and creating products that are more suitable for the masses, and keeping the design, the quality high, and just giving something to people on a larger scale that feels unique and personal to them.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us. I really appreciated it.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
To learn more about Andrew Thornton, his wife and partner Jenny Argy, and Argington, visit argington.com. You've been listening to a Two Modern Designer interview. For more fun podcasts, inspiring design posts, and design advice, check out the blog at twomodern.com.